Good morning, everyone. Good morning. And happy Pride. I love seeing all of the bright and beautiful colors and smiling faces out there. Thank you for being here with us this morning to celebrate this beautiful and sacred day in our UU liturgical calendar. My name is Reverend Natalie Malter, and I am the interim minister here at the Edmonds Unitarian Universalist congregation. We're so glad that you've joined us here in Chapman Hall this morning and through your screens. Welcome to the Edmonds Unitarian Universalist congregation. We are a pluralistic faith community of seekers, humanists, theists, atheists, agnostics, and everything in between. We're committed to treating each other with compassion and respect, to learning from one another, and to sharing our resources to help build a more just world. We gather weekly to connect, to wrestle with life's big questions, and to rededicate ourselves to living into our Unitarian Universalist values of justice, equity, generosity, pluralism, transformation, interdependence, and love. Whether this is your first Sunday with us, or you've been here more Sundays than you could ever possibly count, and I know there are some of you here, we are so grateful that you've chosen to be here this morning. Welcome, everyone. If this is your first time on site with us this morning and you've not yet had a chance to visit our welcome desk in the narthex, we invite you to do so after the service. Our wonderful welcome team will be glad to answer any of your questions about our congregation. If you're joining us online for the first time this morning, please go to our website at euuc.org and click on the tab that says I'm new. Then click on What are you interested in? To learn more about ways to get involved in this community. Friends, as we begin our service, I remind you to please silence your phones or place them in worship mode. And we invite everyone to remember that we welcome children for all parts of our service and that the noises they make are sacred and holy. And now, we'll open our service with our land acknowledgement.
Let us remember that our congregational home, this site on which we are gathered this morning, is placed on the ancestral lands of the Snohomish people who have inhabited this region of the Salish Sea since time immemorial and who continue their livelihoods on these lands today. May we all live and learn humbly as allies to the Snohomish.
Friends, each week we commit and complete a sign and signal of our faith tradition, Unitarian Universalism, by placing a flame in the bowl of our chalice. Week after week, month after month, year after year, we light this chalice to symbolize the warmth of this community and the flame of our hope, which still burns brightly even in the midst of challenging times. We light our chalice this morning with these words by Reverend Jamie Yandel, who writes, "The chalice is lit, and in the flames of memory, our trans and non-binary ancestors do a dance of freedom and liberation, reminding us that we are whole and holy, we are loved beyond all measure, and in our refusal to accept anything less, may we know that we are rooted in the infinite divinity, not relegated to the outskirts of the web of all existence, but enshrined at its core, enfleshed in stardust and fairy dust, an intentional creation of space where our many gods live." And now, friends, let us say our affirmation together. You can say it aloud, read along, or listen to the group reading. The words are on our screens. We need each other, and so we come to this place to work and dance and laugh and cry and think. We call ourselves a religious community, not because this place is in itself holy ground, but because what we do here and say here and are here make it so. So let it be. Friends, on this joyous Pride morning, I invite you to rise in body or in spirit as you're comfortable to join in singing our opening hymn. It's number 361 in the gray hymnal, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. The words will also be projected on our screens. Please be seated. Friends, for our time for all ages this morning, I invite our children and youth and their grown-ups to come join me on our special rainbow rug for a very special story called Stonewall. Oh, I have some grown-ups over here. Hi, Winnie. Thanks for joining me, friends. So good to see you all this morning. This is a special story called Stonewall, a building, an uprising, and a revolution. And this is a story told about an important moment in history, but from the perspective of the building in which it happened. So the building is telling the story. Stonewall, written by Rob Sanders and illustrated by Jamie Kristoff. Two stable houses side by side. For more than 100 years, we witnessed history. Then came a night when we became a part of history. We were built in the 1840s to board the horses of the affluent in New York City's Greenwich Village. Inside our brick walls, horses whined and hammers clanged. Outside, passerbys bustled as carriages rumbled on cobblestone streets. As time passed, the wealthy residents began to move uptown, taking with them their art clubs, libraries, fine hotels, and theaters. And our neighborhood became a mecca for immigrants arriving from all around the world. Visitors made their way to Greenwich Village. Many of them stayed. Greenwich Village was changing, and we changed too. The smell of freshly baked bread began to waft out our windows and into the neighborhood. The roar of automobiles replaced the rumble of carriages as artists and writers moved in. Contemporary art galleries, experimental theaters, and small restaurants sprang up all around us. The village was becoming the creative center of New York City. Greenwich Village was a place where you could be yourself and where being different was welcome and accepted. Newness thumped in the heart of Greenwich Village in the 1950s, vibrating our building's windows. Music played in the streets, jazz filled the air, poets performed in restaurants, artists painted in their studios, the beat movement arrived, and we witnessed it all. Leading up to the 1960s, our neighborhood welcomed gays and lesbians, men who loved men and women who loved women. We were home for people who were told they didn't fit in or belong. We had welcomed all kinds of people before, so we knew what to do. In 1967, we swung open our doors and became the Stonewall Inn. Gay men and women from throughout the city and country came to meet old and new friends, free to be themselves inside our walls. People young and old, teenagers, transgender, drag queens, veterans, business people, students, people of different colors, religions, cultures, gathered, chatted, and laughed and danced under our roofs. Others were not as accepting. They thought those who gathered within our walls were too different. We heard the whispered voices of those inside. Loving someone like yourself was illegal. Socializing together could get you arrested. Wearing the wrong clothes could land you in jail. Being gay could get you fired or kicked out of your home. Some nights we heard fists pounding on our doors, felt angry footsteps stomping across the floor, saw flashes of glaring light as police arrested some of those inside. After each raid, those who hadn't been arrested, left quietly and angrily, disappearing into darkness. But we stood tall and kept opening our doors, and people kept coming. But the police raids kept coming too. We couldn't stop them. In the steaming early morning hours of June 28, 1969, under a nearly full moon, another raid began. This time, those arrested didn't disappear into the night. Instead, they stood defiantly in the street and on the sidewalk under our rusty sign. This time, they weren't quiet. As the ones arrested were led to police cars and patrol wagons, the anger of the growing crowd was lit. "Why don't you do something?" yelled one woman as she was forced into a police car. Immediately, the spark of anger grew into smoldering resistance. Shouts and screams echoed off bricks, fists thrust in the air. We saw the faces of the crowd and felt their rage. The Stonewall uprising had begun. The police, shocked by the defiance of the crowd, rushed inside and barricaded themselves in our walls. Our friends stood outside trying to force open our doors. Our windows were shattered, smoke drifted through our rooms, but we stood firm. Years of silent anger inflamed the crowd. The police called for help, and soon it arrived. The fires were extinguished. The police came back outside, but the crowd's anger was not extinguished. "Gay power," the protesters shouted. "We want freedom." The police had never seen anything quite like it. Neither had we. And it wasn't over. The Stonewall uprising continued on and off for several days and nights. A new day was dawning for the LGBTQ movement. The change had begun here, inside our walls at the Stonewall Inn. On June 28, 1970, our windows looked out on people gathering to celebrate the first anniversary of the Stonewall uprising. At first, hundreds marched. Then thousands of people, young and old, teenagers and transgender people, drag queens, veterans, business people, students, people of all different colors, religions, and cultures, and their friends and families joined in a parade through the streets of New York City. "Say it clear, say it loud, gay is good, gay is proud," they chanted. Many things are different now. Some things have changed. Some laws have changed. Now, two men who love each other or two women who love each other can marry. We know, we've seen their happy faces snapping photos outside our door. We've heard their footsteps walking side by side along our floors. We've felt their love. Each year in June, people all over the world celebrate the movement for LGBTQ rights, a movement that has come far, but a movement that still has much further to go. They celebrate inside and outside our walls. They celebrate freedom. They celebrate equality. And it all began one night here at the Stonewall Inn, when two horse stables became a part of history. And that, my friends, is our story for all ages this morning. Thank you so much for joining me up here. And now we are going to sing, we're going to sing our children and youth out to their class this morning. Please join me in singing Go Your Way in Peace. And now, I would like to invite forward our adult choir under the direction of the fabulous Matt Smith to perform the song Different. Come on up, friends. Thank you so much, friends. That was beautiful. Nora, before you go too far, I would now like to invite our outgoing board president, Dan Ford, and our incoming board president, Nora Thompson, to come on up here and join me on the chancel. Okay, so as you may know, members of our Board of Trustees are elected annually at our congregational meeting each May to serve for a term of 3 years. According to our bylaws, the members of the board elect their own executive team out of their own membership. And starting on July 1st, which marks the beginning of our new fiscal year, our executive team will consist of Katie Christ as secretary, Carolyn Tucker as treasurer, Ginger Alonzo as vice president, and Nora Thompson as president of the board. Woo! This transition also means that it is the end of the term of our board president, Dan Ford. Dan has served for 3 years on the board and for 2 years as its president. In that time, he has led the congregation through a tremendous amount of change. He's guided us through an unexpected ministerial transition and a search for an interim minister, it's me, including leading EUC for a period of 7 months where there was no minister at all. He also provided steady and just leadership during a time of profound political crisis on a national level when so many of us have felt overwhelmed, heartbroken, and scared. Through it all, Dan has led with incredible integrity, compassion, dedication, wisdom, and care. And I simply could not have been more grateful to have had him as a partner in this shared ministry this year. Thank you, Dan, for your exemplary leadership in these extraordinary times.
I don't know how I'm supposed to talk after this. Thank you, Reverend Natalie, for those kind words. It has been a privilege to serve in this congregation. Give me a moment. As your board president for these past 2 years, and I'm profoundly grateful to many of you who have shared your wisdom, your heritage, your time with me. Your advice and encouragement is really what made it possible for me to make my way through this sacred task, and I'm very grateful to all of you. As Reverend Natalie mentioned, we are entering another season of transitions as I pass the torch of the board presidency on to Nora Thompson. Over this past year, she has been our vice president, and I have had the privilege of observing her and seeing firsthand her wisdom and her integrity and her thoughtful leadership. I love this congregation, and I care deeply about its future. And so it gives me great peace to know that I am leaving this role in the hands of Nora's capable hands, because I know that she will serve this congregation with wisdom and compassion and dedication. As Unitarian Universalists, we believe in the importance of covenant, of making our promises and agreements with one another clear so that we can do our best to support each other and we can work with each other as we do the important, beautiful, and sometimes messy work of our shared ministry. And so as we embark on this new chapter of board leadership, I'm going to invite Nora into her new role with a symbolic promise. Nora, do you commit to supporting and nurturing the Edmonds Unitarian Universalist congregation as president of the Board of Trustees, serving with a spirit of loyalty, justice, compassion, dedication, and love, and leading the congregation into living its mission of gathering together, nurturing the spirit, and living our vision of a just and sustainable world? If so, please say I will.
I will.
welcome Nora into the presidency of UUC, and thank you for your service. But now I have one more thing. I know we are anxious to hear a few words from Nora, but first, she doesn't know about this part. First, as we mark this transition, I have a small gift for you. We often speak of passing the torch, but what could be more Unitarian Universalist than literally passing the chalice? Nora, I have a chalice for you that I hope will accompany you through the many, many meetings and moments of leadership that lie ahead. And then when your year as a board president comes to an end, I hope you'll pass this chalice on to your successor as a symbol of continuity, hope, and our shared commitment to the flourishing of this congregation. Nora, it is my honor to pass this into your care. May it remind you and all who follow you that leadership is something we receive with gratitude, we hold in trust, and we look forward to in hope.
Oh my goodness. Okay, now it's my turn to take a breath here. Yes, thank you so much, Dan, and Reverend Natalie, and the entire congregation for your support. I'm honored by your faith in my leadership, and I look forward to partnering with all of you as we move forward into another season of significant change as we search for our next settled minister. I will take this chalice with me to the many meetings I will be attending over this next year and treasure it and honor it and look forward to also passing it on to whoever comes next in this process. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, friends. We are so blessed and grateful to have such incredible leadership here in this community. Thank you for your generosity and service.
And now, our moment's peace. And now, as we ground ourselves even more deeply in this sacred time together, we will enter into a moment of meditation and quiet reflection. I invite you to find a comfortable position, whatever that feels like for your body this morning, to relax your head, your neck, soften your gaze, or close your eyes. And now we enter the quiet and not the silence. May it be so.
The first Pride was an uprising. As we heard a few minutes ago in our story for all ages, today, this very day, June 28th, marks the anniversary of the uprising at the Stonewall Inn on Christopher Street in Greenwich Village in 1969. This uprising, a series of rebellions stretched over multiple days, occurred as LGBTQ residents of New York City fought back against police raids at a gay bar known as the Stonewall Inn. Police raids were not at all uncommon in gay bars at the time. You see, in 1969 in New York City, there were many laws which criminalized queerness. There were bans against what was called cross-dressing, meaning you could be arrested for wearing clothing that did not appear to align with your sex assigned at birth. There were anti-sodomy laws that made sex between people of the same gender illegal. And bars like Stonewall were frequently raided because of disorderly conduct codes that made it a crime for public establishments to serve LGBTQ people. This was the context for the uprising. As we read in her children's book, Stonewall, this uprising over multiple days involved all kinds of people from different walks of life: gay, lesbian, bisexual, queer, trans, gender nonconforming people and their straight allies took to the street together, refusing to be silenced in the face of injustice. They refused the hateful social, cultural, and legal systems that rendered their bodies and their love illegal. In the streets, they chanted, "Gay power," and "Liberate Christopher Street." Marsha P. Johnson, a Black transgender woman and LGBTQ activist who played an important role in the uprising, famously chanted, "No pride for some of us without liberation for all of us." Her words reminding people of the importance of remembering the intersections of sexuality, gender, race, and class. Friends, Stonewall was not the first time that LGBTQ people courageously fought for their civil rights, but it was a major turning point in history, an uprising that would have ripple effects around the country and the world. The following year, on June 28, 1970, hundreds of people returned to Christopher Street to commemorate the uprising. They came in droves with friends and lovers and chosen family, with signs and chants to take up space and to assert their existence in a world that tried to render their existence impossible. This first Pride March was also a kind of uprising. While it may have seemed like a joyous celebration, and it was also a courageous demonstration of radical resistance, an expression of rage and of hope. Friends, as you know, we are living in dire times ourselves, in an era of profound backlash against LGBTQ rights, and an era of rampant transphobia. The American Civil Liberties Union is currently tracking 529 proposed anti-LGBTQ bills in the United States, which include bills that propose restricting or banning trans people's access to health care and public bathrooms and school sports. Laws banning updating gender markers on legal identification have been passed in multiple states and have rendered driver's licenses invalid. And across the country, some trans people who can afford to are moving, fleeing from conservative states to more liberal ones like Washington, and sometimes fleeing the country entirely. This systematic assault on trans people, on our trans community, is devastating, terrifying, and immoral. This is the world in which we find ourselves 57 years to the day after the uprisings began at Stonewall. But just like those who went before, new generations are rising up too. All around the country, people who believe in love and justice are speaking out through protests and lobbying and voting, through direct action and networks of mutual aid, where material and financial resources are shared with those in most need. Teachers are working diligently to protect their students, doctors are looking out for the safety of their patients, and congregations are mobilizing for justice. People are deepening relationships, getting to know their neighbors and community partners, checking in on one another more often. And people are still marching in pride parades around the country. People are still choosing courage and visibility today, like in 1969, drawing inspiration from the movement elders and ancestors who led the way here. This afternoon, many thousands of people will take to the streets of downtown Seattle for its annual Pride Parade. And as usual, I suspect there will be a healthy dose of music and dancing and drag and rainbows and signs bearing messages of love and probably a lot of glitter. Pride parades are riots of color, celebrations of queer life, and above all else, expressions of love. They can, I think, be best described by one word: joy. Friends, you may be wondering, in times like these, with everything so dire and the stakes so high, how can we possibly make space for joy? In fact, is it maybe irresponsible to embrace joy in the midst of so much heartache and loss? These are understandable questions with the weight of the world as heavy as it is. But one of the great lessons of pride is just how essential joy is to the work of justice and love. People often mistakenly confuse the feeling of happiness with a state of joy. While happiness is a good or pleasant feeling, it's fleeting. And joy is something much deeper and more vital. Joy is a core life force that helps sustain us. Joy does not deny grief or fear or even rage. In fact, joy is quite comfortable with those other feelings, and it's used to their companionship. But it's joy that helps us remain connected to that which gives our lives meaning. A hug from a friend, a homemade meal shared with loved ones, a move busted out on a bustling dance floor. Joy calls us back to our deepest inner wisdom, back into our bodies, back into who we were before society taught us that we had to be something else or someone else in order to be worthy of love. One of my favorite scholars of joy is Audre Lorde. Audre Lorde was a Black lesbian feminist writer, poet, professor, and activist who lived in the mid-20th century and who dedicated her own life's work to countering the forces of oppression that threatened her own life and the lives of those whom she loved. And despite all the challenges that she faced in her own lifetime, she was a tireless advocate for joy as an essential life force, emphasizing that it was important not only for individuals, but for community. She wrote these words: "The sharing of joy, whether physical, emotional, psychic, or intellectual, forms a bridge between the sharers, which can be the basis for understanding much of what is not shared between them and lessens the threat of their difference." Lorde saw joy as a bridge that connected people both to themselves and to one another, joy as a force that united community. And as she knew and as we know, we need community. We need each other to survive. And so, friends, the question isn't, how can we have joy in a time like this? But the question is, how can we not? Joy alongside righteous anger and grief and courage is essential. In the face of so much dehumanization, embracing joy is a form of resistance. Joy is a part of the revolution. Yesterday, I had the gift of attending the Edmonds Pride Festival, a celebration down in Civic Park with live music and food and booths from organizations around the community, including our very own Edmonds Unitarian Universalist congregation. And I see some of you out there who were there yesterday. Those who were there know that there was a lot of joy at this event. There was actually so much joy that it was overflowing, spilling out between people who were smiling at strangers and chatting with old friends and tapping their feet along to the live music. Despite the political dumpster fire in which we are living, joy was out in full force in our community yesterday, refusing to be silenced. It was on display in the bubbles that streamed through the air, in the partners strolling and holding hands, in the glitter blessings we gave one another, in the puppy wearing a tiny rainbow scarf, and most of all, in the laughter of the children, taking it all in. Afterwards, I couldn't stop thinking about those children, about how life-affirming and life-saving that joy could be for them, how a joy-filled world is what we owe them. I'm so grateful to all the organizers who made that sacred time and space yesterday possible. Beloveds, while I was at the Pride Festival yesterday, I was reminded of a prayer about joy that was written by a colleague and friend, the Reverend Sean Neil Barron, in his wonderful new book titled Glitter Blessed, Blessings for Queer and Trans Lives. And I wanted to share it with you this morning. The Reverend Neil Barron writes this prayer for Be More Gay. This is a prayer for more gayness, more transness, and more queerness, because the sum of all these is being more love. Spirit of life, great rainbow of love, the scoundrels are at our door, and we could shrink, could play it straight, could crawl back into closets that never fit us anyway. But silence has always meant death. So here we stand, not silent, claiming our birthright, joy. Queer joy is coming out for the first time, for the 100th time, for the time it finally sticks. Queer joy is drag queens voguing at midnight and reading to kids at 10 a.m. sharp. Queer joy is putting on a binder for the first time and finding your breath, your pronouns at the doctor, your name, your true name, like it was never a question. Queer joy is choosing family that loves all of you, not just the conforming parts. Queer joy is young voices blowing the gender horizon into 1,000 beautiful pieces. Queer joy is your whole, full, unabashed self in a world that profits from your shame. The glittery power proclaimed on dance floors and at PTA meetings terrifies those who need the world to be contained, orderly, and dead. But Spirit, we know love can never be contained, never be orderly, and is never, ever done. And so we are called to be more love, especially now, especially when it feels impossible. Let the people say, amen. Blessed be. Thank you, friends. I would now like to invite our adult choir forward under the direction of Matt Smith to perform the song, True Colors. Wow, thank you, friends. It's a personal favorite of mine. I really appreciate you sharing that joy with us this morning and that important wisdom. Friends, a kind word or a thoughtful act, like a pebble dropped in water, sends ripples out to the world. This morning, should you wish to make a promise or let go of one, remember someone else, release a bit of pain, or otherwise mark some important event or occasion like Pride, please come forward in a moment and quietly send your thoughts outward as you drop a pebble into our bowl of water, mingling the ripples of your intention with the ripples of others in this community. During this time, as the music plays, please feel free to come forward down the side aisles at the same time to come forward to our bowl and return to your seats through the center aisle. I will begin by dropping one pebble for all those whom we wish were here with us today, another for all those who wish they were here, and one for our LGBTQ ancestors and elders on whose shoulders we stand. May it be so.
Now for our offering. If you are new to our congregation, you will notice that we do not take up a collection for the operations of the congregation. We chose many years ago to support our congregation by making generous pledges of financial support that we pay month by month, year by year. Instead, our Sunday offering is dedicated to going out into the world to support organizations doing good works that align with and extend the mission of this congregation, gathering together, nurturing the Spirit, living our vision of a just and sustainable world. The June cause of the month is Pink Haven Coalition. Pink Haven is a collective of organizations and individuals who are committed to trans liberation and joy and to growing community defense, mutual aid, and alternative systems of care for gender diverse people. This is the last week for which we are collecting for this organization. Thank you to those who have donated this month and who will donate today. And thank you to Carolyn for bringing this organization back to our attention. You may donate using the QR code or go to the EUUC website and click Donate. For those of you here, there are baskets just outside the doors of the Chapman Hall underneath the screen on the wall. As always, thank you for your generous donations. If you have an organization that you wish to nominate for Sunday Cause of the Month, we invite you to fill out the online nomination form at euuc.org/Sunday-offering. And now for our closing hymn, our EUU song, Love in Action. We invite you to rise in body or spirit as you are comfortable to join in singing our EUC congregational song, Love in Action. The words will also be on the screens.
Friends, if you're here in Chapman Hall this morning, you're welcome to stay after the service and socialize with us. Please go out the double doors to the back of the hall and grab a hot beverage and join us for coffee hour. We'll be out there in the narthex where you can get your hot drink and out on the playground, weather permitting, which looks pretty good right now, with kids of all ages. Finally, friends, we give thanks to all of you who made this Sunday service and the work of this congregation possible. We are so grateful for all of you. And now for the releasing of our flame, please join me in the words on our screens as we release the flame of our burning chalice. We release this flame, but not the light of truth. We release this flame, but not the warmth of this community. We release this flame, but not the fire of our commitment. These we will carry in our hearts until we meet again. Friends, go forth from this time and place in celebration and joy, in courage and hope, knowing that you are holy and whole, beloved and beautiful, a child of stardust, a testament to the power of love in its many forms. The service begins as our service ends. Go in peace, practice love. Amen.